everyone, I just want to create this video for people who have recently lost their job and are wondering, what do I do now? Some things people think of and others maybe not, and especially right now when there's a lot of job loss happening, there's a lot of uncertainty. I just wanted to make some quick and easy tips that could be easy to implement, and depending if you have a large emergency fund or maybe no emergency fund, if you follow these tips, it can help you with your finances, stay afloat, and make sure through this time while you're finding a new job and getting a new job that you are taken care of. So I want to jump right in. Hey everyone, this is Lauren Mack with Hacking the Rat Race, and I would love if you would hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more videos on money, saving, and investing. Okay, so maybe you recently lost your job and you're wondering, what do I do now? I created these quick tips to help you get through this uncertain time and make sure that you're able to stay afloat and that you check off all the necessary boxes. And also in the comments below, I will make a checklist of all of these different tips so you can check it off and make sure that you get them all done and to make sure that you're okay during this uncertain time. So the first tip is just applying for unemployment. This one may seem obvious, but oftentimes people don't apply for unemployment fast enough, right? Maybe you have an emergency fund and maybe you're thinking, oh, this could last me 3 to 6 months. I'll just wait. Maybe I can get a job by then. That's great. I'm so excited you have an emergency fund. And if you don't have an emergency fund, I still recommend applying for unemployment right away. I know each state is different, but Texas, the state I'm from, has a 2-week waiting period. So you don't want to wait until you're about to run out of your emergency fund to apply for unemployment and then have to have 2 weeks of massive stress and uncertainty while you're waiting for that check. So regardless of where you are as far as your emergency fund, I highly recommend just going ahead and first applying for unemployment, getting out of the way, getting the process going so you have cash coming in, and this cash can supplement your emergency fund to make it go even further. Or in the case that you get a job really quick, which would be awesome, then you wouldn't be having to refill so much of your emergency fund because you have the unemployment check coming in. So number one, immediately apply for unemployment if you haven't already. Tip number two is reviewing your expenses, and I would say for the last 60 days, just so you're sure you don't miss anything, and divide it to discretionary and non-discretionary, which would be your essentials, such as shelter, food, electric bill, all of your bills that you have to pay to keep on moving, and then look at discretionary. Take those things and maybe put them in a parking lot for a while until you get through this time. That is like going out, random spending, maybe even things like a gym membership. Some of those things you don't have to cancel. I mean, that'd be a great idea if you're not using them, but if you do use them, you can pause a lot of these things, subscriptions, whatever they are. So I would just make sure you separate your discretionary spending versus your essential spending to live, and then figure out what is that number. What is the number for your essential living, for shelter, electricity, those kind of things, because the next step we're going to do is create a budget, and we're going to create a budget around this essential spending. And the reason is, if you're doing unemployment or you have your emergency fund and you don't know how long it's going to be till you get another job, you want it to last as long as possible. So once you come up with this number, then you can have an idea of the money that you have right now or the money you're going to be getting from unemployment. How long will that last you? This is so important. And then create a budget. I recommend always having a budget, but if you hate budgeting, at least now create a budget so you can watch your expenses so you know how long your money's gonna last and what things are costing you. So just to recap, this tip is creating a budget of your essentials, and even your non-essentials if you don't already have a budget, but you want to see what is coming in and out so you can stay on top of that so you know how long your money is going to last. So the next tip is going to be talking to your creditors. And of course, this is also going to depend on how much of an emergency fund you have and how long you think it's going to last. If you think you can pay your bills, like your mortgage, your rent, your credit card payments, car payment, whatever it is, if you think you have enough emergency fund or unemployment will supplement enough, then you can hold off on this step. However, if you think in the near future, and I would say within 6 weeks, I would say 6 weeks is a good buffer, that you are going to run out of money or just not have enough money to cover these bills, then I would recommend calling your creditor, calling your mortgage, your landlord, whoever it is, and just giving them a heads up and finding out what your options are. And don't wait too long on this. If you have an emergency fund set aside for 6 months and you're going to be getting unemployment, for example, then you probably don't need to do this right away. But if you're looking at the money you have left and unemployment, and you're thinking in about 6 weeks, I'm going to run out of money and I will not be able to pay these people back, then that's the time I would recommend calling them and seeing what your options are. Oftentimes you can get a forbearance, which means you don't have to pay it now, you can pay it back later. Sometimes you can get a deferment, or sometimes you can even get forgiveness. There are so many options, and obviously it also depends on the product, like the loan type, whether it be a car loan, credit card loan, mortgage. But I would definitely, 6 weeks out of thinking you might not have enough money, reach out to them and get this in place. Because here's the thing, you don't want to get to where you're already missing a payment when you contact them. You don't want to ruin your credit. So if you give them a heads up, 6 weeks is plenty of time to, figure out what's going to happen, make plans with them, get things recorded and set in stone. That way, when it comes time that the money runs out and you can't make a payment, something has already been put in place. And of course, if you have no emergency fund and you really don't have that much savings and unemployment's going to take 2 weeks or whatever it is, then definitely reach out to them immediately and see what can be done, because this can save your credit and this can also help you through this time when you have limited income. So definitely reach out to your creditors if you see that coming up. I think 6 weeks out is great. Unless you see it happening imminently that you can't pay, then definitely get on the phone with them immediately and see how they can work with you. They definitely will work with you, so don't negate the step and miss paying a bill. The next step is, if, for example, you don't have an emergency fund and you're not going to get, say, unemployment for 2 weeks or however long it is, or maybe for some reason you don't qualify for unemployment, then if you don't have food on your table, or if you have some immediate needs that need to be met, then I would consider looking at organizations or even going to food pantries to get food. And there's tons of organizations. You would be surprised to meet all kinds of needs, financial, even maybe getting repairs done, stuff with your car. You would be surprised. I used to work for a senator a long time ago, and one thing I did is as people messaged in and saying, oh my gosh, I need help, my roof is broken, I don't have any money, or I don't have food, or I don't have medication, you'd be surprised it was the whole gamut. I was able to find organizations almost all the time to meet these people's needs. They are out there and they are ready to help you. You can do a simple Google search, whatever your problem is, organization, I need help, and I would start getting in touch with these people as soon as possible. And again, if one of the problems is you don't have food, then try to find a local food pantry. A lot of times churches have local food pantries, and a lot of times churches are a good place for resources, or community centers. So if you have some immediate needs to be met and you don't have an emergency fund and you are running out of money and or don't have money right now, then definitely look into this. There is so much help and people are ready to help you. The next step is, be sure that you tell everyone you know that you're looking for a job. You will be shocked at the power of your network, how big it is, how small it is. People might know someone, and even during times when the economy is down, that always means there are businesses which are up. For example, right now, Amazon's hiring a ton of people, even like Grab drivers, Uber drivers that are delivering food and things like this. Anytime thing goes down, that oftentimes means other things go up and there's actually jobs there. So I would definitely reach out to your network, update your LinkedIn, your social media profiles, let people know you are out of a job and you are looking for a job, and work that network. If they know someone, follow up. And this can be a huge piece of the puzzle that can help you get on to your next job. Oftentimes people are embarrassed or ashamed, or they don't want to let anyone know. This is something that happens to people all the time. I highly recommend, do not be ashamed, do not be embarrassed. Talk to your network as soon as possible, because this can oftentimes get you a job so much faster, even if it's just an interim job until you get on to your next career job. I highly recommend getting out there, telling people, and also if there are some networking events in the area that you're in, or maybe if you're thinking about pivoting careers, going to some networking events. The more people who know you're looking for a job and who see you out there, the much greater chance that you're going to get your next job. This leads into my next tip, which is evaluating your career path. right? So maybe you love your career, maybe where you live, there's a lot of opportunity, then that is wonderful. But if you don't love your career or where you live, there may not be a whole lot of opportunity in the area that you're in, then maybe this would be a time to evaluate your career path, think about changing, and you would be so surprised at how often you can use your transferable skills, so skills that you already have in this job, can pivot them into a whole new career. And a lot of times people get stuck in this. They think like, "Ah, I'm in sales, like all I can do is sales." That is so not true. There are so many transferable skills in sales. You can easily pivot out of this role. But just like anything, people think, I'm stuck being a waiter, I'm stuck being a manager, I'm stuck in this career. You're really not. What you need to focus on are what are your passions and what are you good at and what are you good at in your current career. Because here's the thing, those things can be huge assets in other roles and you just have to learn a little bit something different. But here's the thing, even if you went to a new company, maybe in a role that you already know very well, maybe you have 5 years experience, you're still gonna have to learn the way that they do it. So this is basically just pivoting. You're gonna have to learn a little bit anyways. Maybe in a new career path, you're gonna have to learn a little bit more about that subject matter, but you would be surprised at how many transferable skills can pivot into other career paths. So if you're in a city or an area of the country where maybe your career, there are not a lot of opportunities, then you can pivot into something else where maybe there are, and it can open up a lot more doors for you. Something else to consider is I created a video on 30 unique side hustles when you desperately need it. I will link to it above. And this might be something else to check out, that if you have some time right now, when you're not looking for a new job, you can get a side hustle to start making more money. Some of these are super easy. You can literally start making money today or tomorrow. And some of them you could even pivot into full-time jobs or careers, I should say, where you have your own company. So check it out. Or maybe there's just a side hustle that's just burning in your heart or your mind. You've really been wanting to do it. Maybe this is a time to try this side hustle. Of course, I wouldn't go and spend a ton of money and invest a lot of money up front, especially if money's tight right now. But you can easily pivot into some of these side hustles. They're low barrier entry. They're for basically every single skill set, different ideas. So check it out if you're interested in that. Or if there's something that you're already thinking about doing or that you're excited about, maybe during this time, consider doing that to bridge you between now and when you get your next job. Another thing that a lot of people are doing is creating a GoFundMe account. And this is maybe in the case where maybe you don't have a lot of money right now, you're applying for unemployment, and maybe you just need 2 weeks or maybe 1 month. Because you'd be surprised at how many times people would love to help. And this is an easy way for people just to pitch in, contribute, help you while you're down. And it gives them an opportunity to do that. So another option would be just creating a GoFundMe to get you through this time. And I know so many people who have done this, and even if you only hit a quarter of your goal, that's still more money that can help you right now. And you would be surprised at how many people would love to help during this time. So creating a GoFundMe is definitely a good option if you're running out of money or you don't have money and you just need to get you through until you can get that next check. And the last tip to get some quick cash if you really need it is just to look around your house and sell some of the stuff you have laying around. Everyone has so much stuff laying around their house they could easily sell. Just sell a few things. This can make a quick cash infusion, and also it can help you unclutter, declutter your house when you have this time. So I would definitely consider selling some things. You can put it on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. If you have a bunch of clothes that you don't wear anymore, maybe they don't fit or that you don't like them anymore, there's places like Poshmark. There are so many different avenues, eBay, where you can sell your stuff online and get a very quick cash infusion, especially for things that you don't use or wear anymore. Thank you so much for watching, and you will get through this. If you go through all these tips, it should reduce some of the uncertainty. Hopefully you can have quick cash infusions or extend the amount of time that your emergency fund will last, or lessen the amount that you have to put back into your emergency fund. And as I said in the beginning, I will have a link in the show notes to the checklist so you can print it off and make sure that you don't miss anything. And I want to hear from you in the comments below. How's it going? Which one of these tips do you think is going to help you the most during this time? And also, if you have any questions, or maybe you're watching this and you have a good tip that could help our community, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button. It literally costs nothing and it does so much for this channel. It pushes this video out to other people who maybe have just lost their job and are wondering what to do and are dealing with uncertain times. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more videos on money, saving, and investing. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.